Welcome to the Wikia Expert Showcase Special Edition. I'm Ananda Gupta. I'm the lead designer on XCOM Enemy Within from Firaxis and 2K Games. They will. In Enemy Within, weapons will inherit the tint choice that you adopt for your armor. So they don't have individual physical deco markup, but they do get color. They get color support on the tinting feature. The first IG mod is depth perception, and that one increases the combat benefits from having a height advantage. The other one is called hyperreactive pupils, and it gives you an aim bonus after you miss. So it's sort of a consolation prize for missing. Mechs gain experience just like regular soldiers do. They rank up just like soldiers do, so you can have a colonel mech trooper, or a squaddy mech trooper, and they have a training tree all their own. Mechtoids are sufficiently robotic that they can't be mind controlled. Mech troopers, however, are still human beings, and so they can be mind controlled. They do have some of the immunities you would expect from robotic units, such as immunity to fire and so forth. But they can be mind controlled, and they're very dangerous if they're mind controlled. And similarly, mechs cannot be gene modded, nor can they have psi testing on them. And a psi trooper, somebody who's already exhibited the gift, the psionic gift, cannot be converted into a mech trooper. So gene modded soldiers, however, can be psionic, and they can be submitted for psi testing normally. Absolutely. So the Sectopod is a little jealous of the Mechtoid, the idea that the Mechtoid can come in and get this awesome psi shield that heightens his defensive abilities. So the Sectopod now has a reinforced armor ability that is a passive that halves incoming damage. So the Sectopod functionally has twice the health that he normally would, and that's pretty dangerous. Additionally, because both of the new aliens that we added are robots, the XCOM Heavy's heat ammo ability now only increases damage by 50%, not 100%. There are a lot of new environments to look forward to, and there is indeed a snowy map. That snowy map that you saw is actually part of Operation Progeny, which is one of the new side plot elements that we have in Enemy Within. And that's the finale mission of Operation Progeny is on a snowy map. We've added a ton of new urban environments as well. We've added the crashed UFO on the farm. So I feel like new environments and the new maps have been tremendously enhanced in Enemy Within. Well, we've done a lot with AI in Enemy Within. The Exalt's forces in particular have a new squad brain that lets them combo their abilities quite a bit more in a much more advanced way. The enemy AI in general has cleaned up a little bit. Our AI programmer Alex Cheng has done some great work cleaning up the AI and doing some new stuff with it. But most of our efforts did focus on getting the new enemies, particularly the Seeker, which uses a very different kind of AI brain to seek out isolated XCOM soldiers and strangle them, to look for snipers who are hanging back and so forth. The Seeker and Exalt both involved pretty big new AI modules, so those are the improvements that we're most proud of in Enemy Within. We changed very little about the psionics. We didn't even change the XP curve on psionics. This is partly because psionics are a kind of a late game phenomenon, and aside from fixing a couple bugs here and there, particularly with some of the AoE abilities like Psi Inspiration and Telekinetic Field, we left Psi alone. The new threat that XCOM faces in Enemy Within, or one of the new threats, is Exalt. Exalt is a paramilitary secret society. Their fanaticism permits them to commit suicide when stunned with an arc thrower. So if you successfully stun any Exalt unit with an arc thrower, he'll take out a syringe and jab himself in the neck with something very nasty, and he will commit suicide with it. I'm fond of Research Outpost because I have good stories on Research Outpost. That's the one with sort of the observatory structure in the back. There's a VIP mission set on there with Dr. Maruzuki, and Thin Men can really clog that one up with a lot of poison clouds. It can be very dangerous. In Enemy Unknown, I must say I like some of the slingshot maps that we did, especially. I think the Chinese cemetery turned out really well. I think the back of the battleship in Operation Slingshot's fantastic. Jake is working on regaining his sanity in general, and he spent some time chopping wood. The last game I played with Jake was a game called Andean Abyss, which is a really nerdy, hardcore board game about the insurgency in Colombia in the 90s and early 2000s. And we played that game and had a lot of fun with it. Jake and I did consult quite extensively on Enemy Within. We talked a lot about a lot of the different design issues, and he's had a lot of fun with it. I'm a huge Cold War nerd. I love espionage, spies, and the Cold War in general. I designed a board game about the Cold War, which has done pretty well, and so it's called Twilight Struggle. And so when I had the chance to do an expansion pack for XCOM, I knew there were going to be covert operations in it, and I knew there was going to be a shadowy enemy that you have to wage a battle against in the dark. I love reading the speculation, and I love reading the facts. I think the XCOM Wikia community is fantastic at getting stuff down in a systematic way and being a great source of information and strategies and tips, especially for new players. And I think the XCOM Wikia community is going to have to double their efforts on this, because based on how the press in general has been doing at defeating Exalt and fighting in those covert ops, there's gonna need to be some tactical re-education for folks.